plans for the future. Here is where we stand. We have several interviews that have already been conducted, and we just need to get them out to you. But right now, we are staying on a monthly schedule. Hopefully, we will increase that down the road. But right now, we're staying where we are to basically focus on getting more interviews.
Yeah, we don't want to overcommit ourselves. We don't want to move to a twice monthly update and then have to go back to being once a month.
So we're experimenting with this.
You know, one of the things
we're trying to figure it out as we go.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for 6 months now. We've never done it before, so this is new to us, and we're so happy with how well it's going. And I just don't want to invite negative thoughts by, moving to a twice a month model right now.
Yeah.
And then having to go back to once a month, that would feel bad, That would feel bad.
Well, also I assume you feel the same way, just from conversations that we've had, not while recording, that we want to let this thing happen organically, and it is happening organically in a really good way. Just yesterday, we got some amazing reviews on Facebook. So we have a few other interviews that are in the can and several people scheduled. It's just been an excellent journey, and we just ask that you kind of be patient with us as we figure this out.
Sure.
And go on this journey with us, because our goal is, I got to admit, a little self-serving in that I'm enjoying picking brains of heroes and people that I truly admire.
Well, and one of the things we said when we started this thing was that we wanted to make sure that we captured the person and not the performer. Because there are so many already extant interviews out there of people like David Hood, people like Jimmy Johnson, and a few people that I guess we can't give names of quite yet because, they're confirmed, but the podcasts aren't recorded, and I don't want to jinx anything, you know what I mean? I don't want to make promises that we end up not being able to keep. But we're trying to, and I think we are succeeding, we're really trying to get to who these people are, not just what they've done. It's just not makes them special. Just not what makes them special. I'm sure that's probably why you're listening, is because, here are these amazing music heroes, but they're human. They're human, and they have things that make them interesting. They have things they want to talk about, and they've not gotten to.
Dan and I just felt the need to let you guys know what our plans are for the future of the podcast. I think it's time we get to the reason you guys pushed play. Here is part 2 of our interview with Robert Cline Jr. There's Mark.
What's up, Mark?
Robert, how you doing, my brother?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
We got a visitor here, Martin Armar.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, man, come on in.
Say hello.
I'll just say hello, and I'm going to go get some coffee.
Coffee?
Hey, y'all. Are y'all talking about quantum physics? If you are, I'll stay.
Come on.
No.
Just microtubules, and we haven't dissed on fluorescent lighting yet. This is the first podcast episode where we haven't hated on fluorescence. So we hate fluorescence.
They get some coffee. Microtubules.
They make a bunch of noise.
I hate them. Anyway, Mark, I got to record some keys on him here in a minute.
Very cool. So, Gary. So Gary, I presented this song to him, Boys from Muscle Shoals, and he really took me to school. The guy is he is a Boys from Muscle Shoals. He plays like this, and as I was playing, he's like, listen, that's a Memphis groove. What you got to do is a Muscle Shoals groove. And so he showed me the groove, and we finished the last verse the day of recording. And as we were recording, it was like one of those songs we wasn't ready to do, but we finished it and recorded it, and it turned out to be an awesome song.
Oh, it's incredible, especially the gals singing on it, man. They knocked it in the cheap seats.
Cindy and Marie are just amazing.
I recorded them here a couple months ago, and it's just, I could
just
sit back and watch them.
Watching them work,
it's amazing.
You learn something. And like the show last week, it was so inspiring to see that and watch them.
Their pitch is, I guess they've got perfect pitch. But
they're just perfect. Well, but they're just
they're amazing.
And they just love it, and it shows, and it just...
God, what a voice.
How can that not make you smile?
Exactly. But
again, I learned so much about them, meeting Mark. Throughout that record, I got to meet Peanut and really get a wide variety, working with Kelvin and of course Will and David and all these people that made this sound, and it really kind of varied between country, blues, rock and roll. So it's opened me up, and it really helped me. I learned my voice of singing. I wasn't singing like that before I made that record, So
really?
No, it was a whole I'm walking into learning how this is done,
That's awesome.
So,
see, I didn't know you before all of that.
Yeah.
So you said that Gary said, "Nah, that's a Memphis groove. We need a Muscle Shoals groove."
And so
I think I know what he means, but what does that mean to you? I mean, what is the difference? And the reason I ask that is a lot of people confuse recordings that were done here as being in Memphis, or stuff that was done in Memphis as being done here, because the sounds are so similar. But there is a subtle difference.
Right.
You can tell, like the Memphis horns and the Muscle Shoals horns. There's a similarity, but it's a little bit of a
and
bit of a
that
difference.
stuff, those nuances are things that I'm still learning, and I'm still. But
But what did he mean by that in the
I
song?
think just the intro, the style of blues, because it's a blues-based song. Everything pretty much comes from the blues one way or another, and just the way that this musically it was structured, the way the guitar playing was structured. As a guitar player like Gary, he was able to really show me how to play this.
Yeah, I think Muscle Shoals kind of has a little more of a country flair, just a little.
Yeah,
maybe that's just me.
Maybe so. I mean, and I wouldn't say I'm an expert on it yet, but I'm paying attention.
I don't know, but again, it's one of those things you may not be able to 100% describe, but when you hear it, you're like, oh, that was in Memphis, or that was in Muscle Shoals. Or,
got to go see Cedric Burnside play.
That guy's
this
incredible.
week. Yeah, incredible. And I had no idea about that North Mississippi blues.
Oh, yeah.
Totally different. That was a new thing for me when I saw him a couple years ago.
A hill country blues type stuff. It's its own thing.
Sure, it's its own thing. And it's all related, and man,
is that not strange though? How geographically speaking, none of these areas are that far away. I mean, we are essentially located about 2 hours or so from Nashville, about 2 hours or so from Memphis. How far are we from Tupelo? About
hour and a half.
About the same distance closely, So we're kind of in the middle of all of that. So I think we've kind of are a melting pot of all of those things.
Well, certainly. Well, and that's what, with this record, I've been able to go out of the country and go to Europe, and those guys are what's termed Americana. So here I am in this,
which is kind of a catch-all phrase.
It kind of is, and particularly, if you're in the industry, you're like, oh, I hear that, because it's basically saying I'm everything but what pop country is, or I could be blues, I could be rock and roll. So but the Europeans coined it as this is American music, which from an outsider, the blues thing inspired what we did here, what changed with the British rock invasion, which changed Southern rock. I mean, it's all, but it's about people who are saying, hey, we got, what I've got is right here. I know what I've got.
Well, blues and jazz are pure American musical forms, and they take on all kinds of different ways that they are presented. But from an outsider's perspective, someone from a totally different country especially is like, well, case in point, like Led Zeppelin or Cream or a lot of these early rock and roll bands in the 60s and 70s, that was their take on American music. And then you have what's going on in the United States, giving their take on what's British music, and it becomes its own thing. So we're all, in a way, kind of digging what somebody else is doing and putting our own spin on it.
But that's what inspiration is, and like from all the blues that came from Africa and then got spread to the Caribbean, and then you've got the Highland country music of the Scottish people that became, the hill country stuff that melded with blues here in the Appalachians, and it's just, but it comes down to, somebody sharing a part of their self, that's where we all can relate and say, wow, I get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That moves me.
Yeah, and that's the end goal, is to move somebody and communicate and emotionally connect and maybe help somebody see something in their life that they may not have seen before, an experience of some sort. Kind of switching gears, you also own a label.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So Mockingbird Records, one of my songs that I first started on All the Right Reasons was Mockingbird, and I'm originally from Texas, was in Colorado, so that's where I came up with Mockingbird Records, and it's the label that I produced 2 albums with, the one with the Subdudes and one with the Swampers. So it's just a mechanism of which I have been able to organize my own music through. Haven't put any other artists on it yet, but
Is that maybe in the cards down the road?
It could be. I would like to do that. It
Cool.
just comes down to economically making records.
Right.
And, that's you want to be a producer. You got to put your money where your mouth is these days.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I've started my own label that way to manage it as a business, and then get it out there. But I've been able to produce other shows under other different umbrellas where I can bring in people I'm fans of, and that's been a neat process.
Yeah, that is cool.
Of not only carving out a little time for me, it's collectively trying to present stuff in geographic areas all over the place. But using that label it's been a fun thing. Hopefully,
does that help you? You think get gigs? Have a label that you can present your music with?
It's just how you. I think looking at it as a business management. Like, how do you structure your catalog? How do you manage what you're doing? It's through a label,
and it's very important. And this is something I'm not 100% perfect at. I'm trying to get better at it, trying to build systems and stay organized. And that's every bit as important as the creative process. It's not the fun stuff, but if you can build systems and have things really organized and simplify a lot of the business type things, it frees you up to have more time to be creative.
Well, and that's part of the business world. I mean, in particular, in a time where music has changed, where you can SoundCloud music up all the time, and there's artists have changed, like particularly in the rap world and those worlds where there's a lot of people putting a lot of stuff up out there, but it's not the same quality as it used to be, perhaps. So as a business structure, as trying to maintain and be sustainable in what we're doing, the more we try to work professionally, be professional in how we're presenting ourselves, whether it be a live performance or our recorded work. That's important too. It's just important to pay respect to the people that have been before us, because they treated it with that reverence and respect. It goes into the professional element of doing this, as well as being an artist, because like that other part is sometimes wild and creative, but it's taking it to another level where if you've got a label that's got high quality recordings that could be valued by somebody that's producing a movie, perhaps they're going to probably find you easily, manage your catalog a lot easier if you already have everything done correctly.
Yeah, they're able to make decisions quickly, because that's something that me and a few songwriters have been talking about, is trying to do stuff for sync licensing. Mm-hmm. And if you're not familiar with what that is, synchronized licensing.
So they know who you are.
It's basically what you hear in the background of movies or film, any type of like commercial or advertisement or a sitcom. Say Netflix has a show.
And so used to an artist who'd be like, I don't care. I'm bringing it to my fan base.
In that.
Well, that's right. And it's also a way people find your music
exactly.
now.
Case in point, the TV show House. That intro theme, I'm like, who is this? Who did this music? Man, this is kind of cool. And the guy, Hugh Laurie, that played Dr. House, is a legit musician. If you haven't listened to any of his music, you should check him out.
Didn't know that. Yeah.
You would love it.
Cool.
He's doing stuff like St. James Infirmary and old school New Orleans type stuff. Check him out.
Cool.
I think you'll dig it, especially doing what you do. He's actually a legit, very talented pianist and singer himself. He didn't just play that part of his character. He actually is. So you discover people through that as well.
Sure.
So if we had a time machine and you could go back to 17-year-old Robert, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
Practice the piano. Learn the instrument. Learn something early. I wish I'd have picked up the guitar earlier. The piano, stuff like that.
Like, what age were you when you did the career shift?
I was probably like 35, maybe.
What piece of advice would you give yourself then?
Well, just be patient. Fortunately, economically, I was doing well enough to be able to move things around, and then I'm able to really learn to live on less, and those are the things I've kind of learned on in terms of being here, being sustainable in terms of not living too wild and crazy and spending too much money on dumb stuff. Is investing in education and basic things like that. But in terms of a lesson, it would just practice, listen, and be kind to yourself, because we're hardest on ourselves,
Yeah, unfortunately, we all are.
But it's like you said earlier, you're talking about putting yourself in a community that values that. This is a rare opportunity to get to see a lot of music, be around. So I put a lot of my cards in one basket, but was really fortunate to see those things through. So it's how do you maintain that now? It's I've got a wonderful wife. She's very supportive of what we're doing. We're going to continue to.
That makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge
if you're
difference.
Married and your spouse supports you.
And it's also about creating this next generation of people that do it. It's not just about my lessons of what I'm doing now. It's about what I'm going to get to pass on.
Yeah, my wife's very supportive too, and I cannot fathom what it would be like if she wasn't. I mean, she's an artist in herself. She's an author, editor, singer, musician, writer. I think I said that, but she gets it.
Right. And if you're around people that don't get it, it's challenging. And so
it is.
So there is a period of time that it's that self-worth of am I investing in the right time to do this, or should I be working that 9 to 5 to just do what everybody else is doing? But
yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at about dentists need to kind of at least hang around a few dentists
Sure.
to or
have
people
some perspective.
Have some perspective, but also have okay, we can have a conversation where we get each other. I think it's good also to reach outside of your circle of what you do.
Well, I think that's a big important part, because I see a lot of there's lots of different scenes, and you can be real comfortable in your place, but getting out to the uncomfortable place of doing the troubadour deal and bringing it to a new town and to people that don't know you, and particularly in the United States where it's really about who they think you are or who you are to them. I mean, it's an unfortunate part of putting butts in seats. If they think you're somebody, they're going to flock in there, and they've heard your music before, they're going to get you. But it takes time to do that.
Yeah, you have to do it one person at a time. Back to that.
And one person at a time, or you're fighting. On the radio, they're spending $1 million per song to get in front of people.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, people are searching for that authenticity too.
Sure. So by going to those little towns, playing for people, just showing up, and that's where you find the one. You get better at what you're doing. You're finding the people that are going to support you, and then you get to hang out with folks like yourself.
Come on back in, man.
Come on.
Go sit over in the corner.
You didn't bring any coffee?
Come in, man. You didn't bring nobody any coffee.
Drank it.
Hey, you want some water?
No, man.
He's got the ukulele
Just
going on.
Ukulele. I need no water when I have.
We got background music. Is that sit over here? Play ukulele.
Serenade.
But yeah, I mean, just kind of wrapping this up, man. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
How can people find you online? I mean,
Yeah.
you're on the social media
On
stuff.
the social media.
Website,
robertklinejr.com, and you can find me on iTunes, all those normal places.
What's the name of the newest record?
American Mojo.
Yeah.
That we released that a year ago.
It's got some mojo
so,
to it, man. It's a great record.
It's been a real opportunity for me. I got to work on Mark Normore just walked in. We did a couple songs on that record.
Yes, we do.
And people love those songs. I love singing them. So
Which ones are they?
Tennessee River and Let It Go.
Let It Go is one of my favorite ones on there.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
There's a whole track of Cindy and Marie singing on that, and we had to take them off because no, they're on that one. There was another song that we did that I had them on, and they competed. It was with the horns, and that was the hardest thing to do is pull them off because it competed with the horns. It was on Till I Get It Right.
Yeah, that's a good tune too. Though, but I think that was a good choice because
it would have been too much. But that's the deal. You got to know when to say no on certain things. But
well, cool, man. So what's new for you?
What's new? So I'm actually this week I'm gonna go hang out with Buzz Kaysen and hopefully write a couple songs with him.
All right, man. Buzz owns Creative Workshop up in Berry Hill, the oldest studio in Berry Hill, isn't it?
He did the first
right by
one.
Blackbird. I've eat food from a food truck on the back porch. I don't know if I was supposed to be there or not, but it was at Blackbird. I've been to Blackbird several times, but never been to Creative Workshop. I need to go.
Yeah, call up Andreas. He'll
Yeah,
show
I need
you
to get
around.
up Andreas. I actually talked with him about getting him on the podcast too.
Very cool.
So he's got his own deal with Crazy Chester Records.
Yeah.
Really cool dude. So you've got.
So
are
we
you guys
catch up with
writing,
him.
or are you?
We've got one in the can that we did about a year ago, and I got to do some touring with him, and that was real exciting. So I'm looking to meet up with him, and then I'm wanting to put out an acoustic record soon.
Cool.
So I've been talking to James LeBlanc about getting involved with that. He's been pretty busy, but I would like to do those two projects.
I need to play you a song he and I wrote. Me, him, and Byron Green.
Nice.
Co-wrote it.
Love to hear it. What's the title?
What It Is.
What It Is.
I'm really proud of that. You played keys on it, didn't you, Mark?
I remember, yeah.
Man, that's a good tune. I'm proud of that one.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
But he's a good guy to have on a guitar, you know.
Oh, he's a great guitar player. He's highly underrated in my opinion.
And a background singer and a songwriter.
He's known as being a songwriter. James LeBlanc, if you don't know who we're talking about, he's got a new record coming out in the Winchesters, I think is his band name, right? Jimmy Nutt.
Yeah. The Winchesters.
Recorded that, and I'm looking forward to that. He is an amazing artist. He's known for his songwriting. Co-wrote Relentless, I think, with John Paul White, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Of the Civil Wars. And John's doing his own thing. Co-owns Single Lock Records. And he wrote with Walt Aldridge. Help me out here. What was that?
Modern
Day
Day Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
That Travis Tritt did. He's written a ton of great songs.
He's on this new Muscle Shoals record.
Easy
to Love.
Yeah. He's known for songwriting, but he's an all-around talent he's an incredible guitar player.
Yeah, so I'm excited to get in the room with him and pitch some songs and do some cover songs. I've been learning more Muscle Shoals songs to maybe throw in there and just pay tribute to a couple of other songs that are out there in that record.
Guys, check out Robert Cline Jr. Go to his website, follow him on all the social media platforms, and you're on Spotify, right?
Yes, Spotify. You can find me on Spotify for sure.
You on SoundCloud, Google Play, any of that stuff?
I am.
You everywhere. Music is found.
Music is everywhere. Music is found.
iTunes.
Gazoogle.
I don't know if that's a thing, but it is now.
You can gazoogle me later.
Hey, thank you so much for sitting in.
Yeah, and thanks for supporting your local community and sharing all these people's voices with everybody. It's been a real honor for me to hear them and get to experience this. And
it's been a lot of fun. Kind of selfishly getting to pick people's brains and also getting to hear other sides of the story. So it's kind of turned into this thing that people are opening up, and like Christine Ullman was talking about dancing with Chris Farley while Paul McCartney played Hey Jude to a cast-only performance on SNL, and Dan and I are sitting across looking at each other like we're having this conversation. This is really weird, but is there anything you want to say? The mic is yours.
Yeah.
If somebody were to interview you,
sure.
What question should I have asked?
What question should you have asked? Well, how we're all seeing the future of music, how we see ourselves in the future of this legacy of not just Muscle Shoals, but how we create this part of our own community wherever we go. I think that's an important vision of our responsibility of doing this. Other than just having fun at it, it's great to really show the value of it and. As a fan, as just anybody out there. So I think that's an interesting question to ask.
The Music Modernization Act, do I understand correctly that passed both House and Senate?
Yeah, I've got to
I need to read up on all of that.
I think that's a very positive thing. And then I was having a conversation recently, about the different tools we have. We've got a lot of great tools, but it comes down to supporting the people in your local community or abroad, of just helping value and pay for your musicians, pay for go out and see live music. Those types of things that is the rubber when the rubber meets the road of supporting music. And
amen to that.
Showing up and listening to it. So.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And if you want more art, if you want more great music, pay for it, value it. I mean, because that's how guys like you and me and all of us are supporting ourselves. And if we can't afford to do it, it would stop.
It diminishes its value. Sure.
Yeah, you know.
And so how do you instill that to another generation? They've got to see it. When you see a live performance, like last week, Dave's birthday, like if you saw that, I got to actually sit next to Mark during that. You know,
Where were you guys sitting?
in the back, right? But
I was up in the balcony.
You know, you can't describe that to somebody. They've got to witness
No,
that. It's a
you can't.
witnessing of what it is, and you know, so maybe buying tickets for somebody. You might not be a musician. You could buy tickets to a youth group or somebody
That's a great point.
gives another opportunity that you're sharing.
Yeah.
What it is, you're supporting.
That is an awesome
venue.
point, because it's kind of like if you've never been to a concert and heard great music in a great acoustical space that's real vibey, and you just
have no concept of what it is.
Well, it's kind of like, I've heard it said before, it's kind of like trying to explain to somebody what it was like riding this really cool roller coaster if you've never been on a roller coaster. You're like, well, it went up and it went down and it did this turn twisty thing, and we screamed and we had fun. And it's like, oh, okay, what's your point? I don't get it. You have no frame of reference if you've never experienced that.
But that's this community is really great about businesses supporting events like the Beatles show. Like they had people that supported that. Folks that showed up to that, they don't usually go out to see music, but it blew their socks off.
Of course it did. It was amazing.
But that's happening all across the world. It's just making sure people value that and support it.
Awesome.
Go see live music.
Go see live music. Buy records, buy CDs, download, however you consume it. Thank you again, Robert.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again to all of our listeners for tuning in to a Muscle Shoals Storyteller series of a Tape Noise podcast. We are on all of the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you know the thing. Give us a review and a rating. Share, tell your friends, tell us what you think. We are on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud. Thanks again for listening. Until next time.